Far beyond the familiar star systems, in a region of space scarcely explored by any known race, a faint and strange signal cut through the emptiness. It was a distress call, an SOS old, fashioned but urgent. The signal came from a world nobody paid much attention to, a planet so harsh that it was marked on maps as a death world. This was no ordinary place. It was a land of endless dangers, where the air itself seemed hostile and every living thing fought for survival. Sharp rocks pierced the ground like knives. Storms swept across barren plains without warning, and fierce creatures lurked beneath the shadows, waiting for any sign of weakness. For centuries, the Galactic Coalition, a vast group made up of dozens of alien civilizations, had avoided this world, believing it was too dangerous to send help or even explore in detail. But the SOS changed everything. It was a call from a little-known alien species, small and fragile compared to the towering warriors and advanced races in the Coalition. These aliens had never been important in politics or trade, often ignored and underestimated. Yet their cry for help was clear and desperate, echoing through space with a strange mix of fear and hope. In the Coalition's council chambers, representatives argued fiercely. Some warned that sending a fleet to such a hostile planet was too risky. They questioned if the aliens even deserved the effort, or if the SOS was a trick or trap. Others pushed for action, saying the moral duty of the Coalition was to help any species in danger, no matter how small or insignificant. The debate lasted for hours, tensions rising as different voices clashed over the meaning of honor, survival, and strategy. But when Earth's command center intercepted the signal and analyzed its data, everything shifted. Humans had their own reasons to respond swiftly. For decades, humanity had faced harsh trials, battling not just external enemies, but the harsh conditions of their own homeworld in colonies scattered across space. Earth's commanders, hardened by experience, understood the meaning of a desperate. So they saw the signs that this was no ordinary distress. It was a warning, a call for help that could not be ignored. Without hesitation, the human fleet was ordered to mobilize. Ships were prepared, crews briefed, and the engines fired up as the humans readied themselves for a mission unlike any before. This was not just a rescue, it was a test of endurance, courage, and the unbreakable will that defined humanity. The fleet's leaders gathered to discuss strategy, aware that the unknown planet held dangers they could barely imagine. The aliens sending the SOS had described threats that sounded like nightmare creatures, intelligent and merciless, creatures that had defeated the Coalition's earlier teams. Yet the humans did not waver. Their history of surviving Earth's deadliest environments gave them confidence, a fierce pride known as the Deathworlder spirit. They knew how to adapt, how to fight, and how to survive against all odds. As the fleet prepared to jump into the dark unknown, the tension was thick, but so was the determination. The signal pulsed faintly in their systems, a reminder that somewhere out there beings were counting on them. The crew members aboard the human ships felt a mix of anxiety and resolve. Many were veterans who had faced horrors before. Others were younger and eager to prove their worth. All understood that the coming mission would demand their best. Every skill, every ounce of courage. The human fleet's jump engines flared, breaking the silence of space as they leaped toward the death world. In those moments, the vastness of the galaxy seemed smaller, the bonds between species stronger. The SOS was more than a call for help. It was a challenge to humanity's very nature, a chance to show that no matter how fierce the universe, the human spirit would answer. The unknown awaited, but the humans moved forward, united in purpose and ready to face the death world's fury. The human fleet emerged from the dark folds of hyperspace, their sensors immediately assaulted by the harsh reality of the death world. Below, the planet was unlike anything they had encountered before, a place scarred by relentless storms that tore across the sky like furious beasts. Jagged rock formations that seemed to rise like ancient teeth from the ground, and a strange kind of vegetation, sharp and unyielding, as if nature itself had sharpened every leaf and branch into a weapon. The air was thick with tension, not just from the howling winds, but from the very atmosphere that seemed to weigh on the human crews, reminding them that this world was not a place for the weak or unprepared. As the fleet closed in, the fragile signal from the alien SOS senders grew clearer. These beings were unlike the great warrior races or high-tech civilizations the Coalition was used to. They were small, gentle, and peaceful. Their technology primitive by comparison, but deeply connected to the harsh environment they called home. The aliens had survived for generations by learning every detail of their planet's dangers, understanding the storms, the deadly plants, and the creatures that roamed the shadows. Making first contact was tense. The humans sent landing teams cautiously, aware that every step on the ground was a gamble. The alien representatives approached with a mixture of relief and fear, their faces marked by the long struggle to endure the planet's harshness. Their plea was simple but terrifying. A predator, unlike anything the Coalition had ever faced, hunted them. This creature was more than a beast. It was a hunter with sharp intelligence, able to stalk and strike without warning. It had already destroyed several Coalition teams sent to investigate the distress signals, leaving only silence behind. The aliens begged the humans not just for rescue but for protection. As the humans listened, their instincts sharpened. This was no ordinary mission. The hostile environment was not the only enemy. The predator was a living nightmare, test of survival on the deadliest frontier. The fleet's commanders quickly adapted their plans, knowing that conventional tactics would not be enough. The human soldiers and scientists worked together to prepare for the unknown, equipping themselves with gear designed to withstand the cutting winds and dangerous plants. Scouts moved carefully, mapping the terrain with a mix of caution and curiosity. Each step revealed new dangers, plants that could slice through armor, animals that watched from hidden places, and an atmosphere that seemed to challenge their every breath. Despite the threats, the humans pressed forward, their determination unwavering. The alien hosts shared their knowledge, pointing out safe zones, signs of the predator's passage, and ways to use the environment to their advantage. Slowly, a fragile bond formed between the two species, one born out of necessity, but growing into mutual respect. The human teams faced the Deathworld's fury with a mix of awe and resolve. They realized that this mission was more than a rescue. It was a battle for survival, a chance to prove that even in the darkest and most dangerous places, life could find a way. As night fell on the strange planet, shadows grew longer, and the predator's presence became more real. The tension tightened like a rope around the human forces, but their spirit burned brighter than ever. This was the moment they had trained for, the moment to show that humanity's will to survive was stronger than any storm, sharper than any blade, and fiercer than any beast lurking in the dark. The battle on the Deathworld had begun, and the humans found themselves locked in a deadly game of hunter, and hunted with a creature unlike any they had ever faced. This predator was massive, moving with an almost ghostly silence, blending into the twisted shadows of the planet's jagged terrain as if it were part of the darkness itself. Its size was intimidating, but even more terrifying was its intelligence. It was no mindless beast, but a cunning apex hunter that studied its prey, learned their tactics, and struck with brutal precision. The humans quickly realized that facing this creature would demand everything they had: their technology, their courage, and above all, their adaptability. From the very first encounter, the predator seemed to vanish before their eyes, only to reappear moments later in an attack that tested their defenses to the limit. Yet the human teams, trained in Earth's harshest environments in countless battles, refused to be broken. They used the planet's own dangers to their advantage, luring the creature into traps made of razor-sharp plants and leading it into stormy ravines where its movements were slowed. Their technology, advanced sensors, energy weapons, and armored suits, combined with their grit, made them a force the predator had not expected. The alien species watching this fight were filled with awe and disbelief. They had never seen beings who faced such overwhelming odds and stood firm with such fiery determination. The humans' willingness to risk everything, their refusal to give in to fear, their creative tactics inspired hope that the predator could be beaten. Every skirmish was a test of wits and endurance, a dance of life and death across the deadly landscape. The humans' Deathworlder fury, a fierce, unyielding spirit forged by centuries of survival in the toughest conditions. On Earth, came alive in every moment. They adapted quickly, learning from each encounter and changing their strategies to stay one step ahead. Communication was constant, and no team member was left behind, no matter the cost. This fury was more than just strength or weapons. It was a refusal to surrender, a deep-rooted belief that they could overcome even the darkest challenges. Slowly, but surely, the tide of the battle began to turn. The Predator, powerful and terrifying as it was, started to show signs of strain. The humans exploited every weakness they discovered, using teamwork to surround and outsmart the beast. Their movements were precise and confident, their spirits unbroken by the countless dangers that lurked not just in the Predator, but in the planet itself. The creature's reign of terror, which had destroyed so many before, was being challenged, in a way no one had thought possible. As the battle raged on, the humans and their alien allies grew closer. The aliens shared their deep knowledge of the Deathworld's secrets, while the humans offered protection and hope. Together, they formed a bond of trust and respect, a partnership, born in the heat of battle, but destined to last far beyond it. The humans' success was a powerful reminder of what made them unique, their ability to face impossible odds, to rise again and again, and to fight not just for survival, but for a future where all species might thrive.
Ow.
In the end, the Deathworlder. Fury was not just a legend or a saying. It was a living force, a spark of life that refused to be extinguished, even in the darkest shadows. As the sun set on the harsh planet, the humans stood victorious, their hearts pounding with the thrill of battle and the promise of peace to come. The Predator was defeated, but the true victory was the spirit that had carried them through. A spirit that would inspire not only their alien friends, but the entire galactic coalition in the years to come, with the terrifying Predator finally weakened and pushed back into the shadows of the Deathworld. A new chapter began, one not of fear, but of hope and unity. The humans and the alien survivors who had sent the SOS found themselves drawn closer than ever before, not just as allies in battle, but as partners, sharing a common future. The peaceful aliens, once isolated and fragile, opened their hearts and minds to the humans, teaching them the deep secrets of their planet's harsh ecosystem, how every storm could be read like a story, how the sharp plants held not just danger, but clues to surviving, and how the shifting winds carried messages if one listened carefully. The humans, in return, shared their advanced technology and hard-earned survival strategies, showing how innovation and courage could work hand in hand to protect and thrive in this hostile land. Together they worked tirelessly to build defenses fortifications that blended the aliens' intimate knowledge of the terrain with human engineering and tactical planning. They set up watch posts where sensors hummed softly, ready to detect any returning threats. They trained side by side, humans learning to move with quiet grace, aliens practicing the use of new tools and weapons. This cooperation was more than just practical. It was a bridge between two very different worlds, a symbol that even in the vast, often dangerous galaxy, unity was possible. Back in the Galactic Coalition, where many had doubted humanity's role, the reports from the Deathworld sparked a change. The Coalition leaders, who had once viewed humans as unpredictable or overly aggressive, now saw something different, unique strength that went beyond sheer power or advanced weaponry. It was a strength born from the human ability to connect, to build trust with species unlike themselves, and to face impossible odds with unwavering determination and compassion. The SOS mission, which had started as a desperate call for help, is becoming a shining example of what could be achieved when differences were set aside in favor of understanding and cooperation. The human fleet remained on the planet, not just as protectors, but as partners, working with the aliens to restore balance to the land and prepare for whatever dangers might come next. They repaired damaged habitats, studied the mysterious predators' patterns to prevent future attacks, created communication networks that linked their two peoples in ways never imagined before. The alliance forged in battle began to spread, its influence inspiring other coalition members to reconsider their own prejudices and fears. The story of humans and aliens standing together on a death world, transforming a place of fear into a beacon of hope, was told across countless worlds. It reminded all that survival was not only about fighting enemies, but about building friendships and understanding. On the planet itself, beneath skies often dark with storms, there was a growing sense of peace. The once fragile alien species began to thrive, their voices stronger, their lives richer, with the presence of human friends. The humans, too, found something precious in the experience, deeper respect for life in all its forms, and a renewed belief in their role in the universe. In this unlikely place, shaped by danger and courage, the seeds of a new future were planted. Unity was no longer just a word or a hope, but a living reality, forged in the fire of battle and sustained by the shared will to protect and grow together. As the Deathworld's storms continued to rage outside their settlements, inside there was calm, quiet, steady strength, born from the understanding that no matter how fierce the universe could be, together they were stronger. The SOS had become more than a call for help. It had become a call for unity, respect. It's a promise of a better tomorrow for all who dared to reach out across the stars. The once bleak and desolate death world, scarred by endless storms and deadly predators, began to transform slowly but surely as humans and the fragile alien species worked side by side, turning the harsh landscape into a place where life could grow and hope could take root. The skies, which had long been filled with swirling dust and lightning, now showed hints of clearer horizons, and the harsh winds that once tore apart everything in their path softened just enough to allow new plants to sprout. The alien species, once isolated and on the brink of extinction, found renewed strength through the friendship and guidance of the humans. Their primitive technology was upgraded with human innovation, not to dominate, but to protect and preserve the delicate balance of their home. Together, they built sustainable shelters that could withstand the planet's violent moods, water systems that captured precious rain, and defenses that could keep both natural and unnatural threats at bay. Slowly, their society grew stronger, more confident and more visible to the rest of the galactic coalition. Once viewed as insignificant and vulnerable, the aliens had now become valued members of a wider community. The humans respected not just for their fierce fighting skills, but also for their unwavering loyalty and kindness, earned a reputation across the stars as dependable allies. News of their courage and compassion spread quickly, inspiring other races to rethink their views of humanity. The Deathworld mission, initially feared to be a dangerous gamble, is now celebrated as a shining example of unity and strength. As the human fleet prepared to depart from the planet, the atmosphere was filled with a mixture of emotions. Humans felt a sense of accomplishment and pride, but also a deep connection to the world and its people they had fought so hard to save. The alien leaders expressed heartfelt gratitude, offering a message that was more powerful than any signal, an open invitation for humans to return any time as friends and partners. The SOS that had once sounded as a desperate call for help was now replaced by a message of hope and ongoing alliance. The human commanders, reflecting on their journey from the moment they received the first faint signal to the battles fought and bonds formed, understood that this mission was far greater than a simple rescue. It marked the beginning of a new era, one where humanity's unique Deathworlder fury, their fierce determination and resilience born from the most unforgiving environments, became a symbol of hope and strength across the galaxy. The Deathworld was no longer a place of fear and danger, but a beacon of what could be achieved when different species worked together. This victory was a promise that no matter how vast or hostile the universe might be, unity and courage could overcome even the darkest challenges. As the human fleet lifted off, the planet below shimmered with new life and new possibilities. A silent witness to a story of survival, friendship, and hope that would be told for generations to come. The legacy of the SOS from the Deathworld would live on, inspiring all who heard it to believe in the power of reaching out, standing together and never giving up, no matter the odds. Years after the human fleet left the once deadly Deathworld, the planet had become a symbol of hope and cooperation throughout the Galactic Coalition. The alliance between humans and the peaceful alien species not only survived, but flourished. The fragile aliens, once on the edge of extinction, now thrived with human help, their culture blending with new ideas and technologies without losing the core of who they were. Humans returned periodically, not just as protectors, but as teachers and friends, helping the aliens explore deeper parts of their planet safely, and even assisting in scientific research to better understand its dangers and wonders. The Coalition itself had changed, inspired by this successful mission. Skeptics were fewer, and many other species began to reach out for alliances with humanity. Recognizing that the human spirit, shaped by surviving harsh environments on Earth and beyond, brought more than strength. It brought resilience, creativity, and a willingness to stand with others through thick and thin. The Deathworlder spirit became more than a legend. It became a guiding principle for many in the galaxy, a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, survival was possible with determination and unity. The once mysterious and frightening predator, though still part of the planet's ecosystem, was now studied carefully. The combined efforts of humans and aliens led to new ways to live alongside such dangers, showing respect for life in all its forms, even those that were deadly. The story of the Deathworld mission was told and retold, not as a tale of fear, but as a story of courage, friendship, and the endless possibilities that came from working together. Young aliens dreamed of joining human explorers. Humans felt a deeper connection to the stars they once feared. This legacy was a beacon, a light in the darkness that reminded all that the universe was not just a place of threats, but a place of endless chance for those brave enough to reach out. As time passed, the SOS that once called for urgent help was remembered not only for the danger it signaled, but for the new dawn it created, a dawn where humanity's fierce spirit and the quiet strength of the alien race joined to shape a brighter future for all.